Okay.
I don't believe so. Think that's all we have.
Okay.
Just gonna change.
All right, you guys ready to start?
Yep.
Okay, this is a request to remove 11 public shade trees at 400 Huntington Avenue in the Fenway Kenmore neighborhood as follows. 3 swamp white oak trees measuring 4 inches, 5 inches, and 3 inches in diameter, and 8 Tupelo trees measuring 3 inches in diameter. And I apologize, we should introduce ourselves. My name is Carrie Marsh Dixon. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Boston Parks Commission. Max?
Max Ford Diamond, tree warden, City of Boston.
Todd?
I am Todd Nestor, the Director of Urban Forestry with the City of Boston.
Okay. So go ahead and introduce yourselves for the record and make your presentation, please.
Sure. My name is Michael Petrucci. I am one of the senior capital project managers here at Northeastern University, representing Northeastern for this project.
And I'm also from Northeastern. I'm Director of Horticulture and Grounds here.
Okay, great. Go ahead and start.
Absolutely. Just bring up the presentation. Apologize. Monday morning here, nothing wants to work. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna share my screen with you. Here. All right. Can everyone see the screen?
No.
No.
Oh, why can't everything go easy today?
At the bottom where it says share.
Yes, I hit share. PowerPoint. All right, and then
That's
share
better.
one more time.
Perfect.
All right, here we go.
Gotcha.
Let me make it so that everyone can see it. All right, that worked. Everyone can see. All right. So we are, and this was not the right title. All right. So we are proposing for our Steamline project. I met with you first. Let me thank you for having us and listening to our presentation today. We had met probably about this time or close to it about a year ago to discuss the work on the opposite side of the street on the westbound side. We are currently looking to now move our steam line to the opposite side, into the eastbound side of Huntington Ave. Our proposed line, and what you're seeing here is the Cabot Center, which is one of our gyms, and the trees that are in the public way here. There are 11 of them. We are looking at moving these lines. The new steam line that we're putting runs across Huntington, comes from the westbound to the eastbound side, directly under the Green Line tracks. And our new Public Improvement Commission submission has us running the steam line in the sidewalk that you can see here along Huntington Ave.
I'm going to cut you off real quick. What we see right now is the PowerPoint. We don't see the exact, like the presentation, like the full screen. Are you moving past the first slide yet?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. Let's see.
Because we still just see the Northeastern University seam replacement project. I'm not sure if you've moved past that slide.
Let's. I don't know why it paused on me. Let me hit resume. Oh, it's some reason it's not working here, Steve. Share. Okay, share.
To be honest, we are able to see the thumbnail screens well enough that you could probably just keep going, given we only have a half an hour for the
Okay,
presentation.
I'll go
Um,
quick.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I think we can see the thumbnails. If you keep going and explaining what's happening, we might be able to make it out.
All right. I don't know if what you can see now, if you can see the overview, or is it not really?
All we see is your first page.
This is aggravating. I apologize.
You can just keep moving on,
Alright.
like just slide it down like you were editing the it's just the full presentation slide, not like the full screen. So if you just want to click slide number 2 or 3 or 4. If you
Is
do,
that thumbnail open now? I don't know why my computer isn't working. This is really frustrating.
Mike, do you want to, while we're talking, do you want to email it to me and let me see if I can pull it up?
Yeah, let me send that over. So what we are proposing right now is the work on the opposite side, on the eastbound lanes of Huntington Ave. There are 11 trees on that side that we are proposing to take down. Let me start for a second. That are in the way of our steam line. Our steam line currently we're proposing with the PIC plan that we have submitted to the city of Boston, is to run the new lines in the sidewalk along Huntington Ave, from where we cross Huntington Ave to Forsyth Street. There are 11 smaller trees. I believe, Max, you looked at them. In my slide, I had them all marked out. We are not putting the steam line directly under these trees, but unfortunately, because of the size of the trenching we're going from, we are taking the entirety of the sidewalk out along Huntington. We're also being asked by Ed Hesfield from BTD to plate this entire area as we do our work. With the trees in the way, also would make plating this extremely difficult for a safety perspective. Our steam line runs about 8 inches off the side of the building and stops short of where the actual tree pieces are. Oh, there you go, Steve. We can go to the next slide, Steve. That'd be great.
Is it this one right here?
Yes, the one
Okay.
right before that.
Before that.
Okay. So what this is showing the 11 trees. Our steam line crosses from in between where 12 and 13 are on the westbound lane, and comes across in the middle between 10 and 11 that are marked on the eastbound side. So our steam line is going to run the entire length of this sidewalk, and then go down to the corner of Huntington and Forsyth, where we have a very large manhole going in our property, right next to where it says Solomon Court there. The steam line comes off the building roughly 8 inches and extends out about 2.5 feet to 3 feet into the sidewalk. It is short of the current tree bases where the metal grates currently sit. So they're not going directly under the trees. We're also following the vicinity standard. Our steam lines would be encased in, wrapped in pyrogel, and then they're encased in concrete. So the ground in that area doesn't see any heat. I know we had an issue with the vicinity line recently on the other side of the street. It wasn't ours, it was with the vicinity part where one of their steam lines had got hot and it had killed the trees on the other side. This construction on this side is far different than what's over there. So we wouldn't have the same issue that that vicinity saw on the other side of Huntington Ave. You can go to the next slide, Steve. So this is the overhead view looking at it straight on. You can see that the box in blue is the entirety of the construction zone, looking at the from overhead. The edge of the blue box does show about where our steam line crosses Huntington. and then it extends down to the corner. When we get to the corner and we start to turn down Forsyth, we're not impacting there are no trees that we're impacting along Forsyth Street. Anything would just be done along Huntington Ave. Question so far before we.
No, we're good.
Okay. This is the next slide is just the plan and profile. If we can go to the next one, Steve.
It's getting there.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Technology doesn't.
There we
wanna
go. There we go.
Right.
It just
That shows in relation to the sidewalk and the tracks, and how far in the line actually goes. You can see we're not going to, when we replant any trees, we're not underneath them. So we shouldn't be impacting any of the root balls or growth of these trees going forward. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that, Steve.
no, just that I'd be looking to work with Max and Todd and maybe instead of just having single tree pits, thinking about, if we want to expand growing space along there, but that's, for later, I guess. Do you want to go to the next steps slide, Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we don't have any other questions on our constructions or the reasoning why we're looking to this
Sure, we'll
to
get
do
in.
this work.
Yep,
Okay.
we'll ask that as soon as you
All
finish
right.
the presentation.
Go ahead, Steve. We can go to the next one. Yes, this is the next one is just our next steps. Our PIC submission. We're just waiting for Ed to finalize our BTD traffic plan that involves the corner. And then we will have our PIC submission in within the next week or so. We do have full sign off on every other departments except for BTD at this time. We're happy to schedule any site visits to go over the site if there are any other questions or the reasoning why, so you can kind of see it. And as Steve already alluded to, that once we do start this project, we'd like to meet to discuss what replacement you'd like to see under there, back in this space, if they're the same ones or if we want to do something different. We do also have the opportunity, since we are opening up the entirety of this, bringing water or power or anything towards these areas if there's any, looking for anything further going forward. I know now I think Northeastern waters them, but we're looking to be able to put some kind of automatic sprinklers or anything in there if needed or if requested, as well as power to help, decorate the area if needed, or anything else that the city might need. Also, if there's any other additional info that we missed or there's uncertainty or we need clarity on, we are happy to discuss further. I apologize for the technology glitch today.
Great, thank you so much. Max or Todd, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I'll just say that for the record that all 11 trees were alive and healthy at the time of inspection, which is why we're having this public tree hearing. I think that, we would, of course, want to replace these trees once the project is over, and we can work with you on that and species selection. Maybe going forward, depending on how you're tearing it up and replacing things, the possibility of structural soil would be very helpful in this area, as well as resin-bound paving around the trees, just because of the amount of traffic, that sidewalk traffic that goes down there. But yeah, other than that, those are my only comments.
So structural soil, I'm sorry, resin-bound paving.
Aggregate, yeah, in the tree pits.
Okay, and then species selection. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Todd?
Well, I guess my starting question is, we did meet some time ago to talk about the trees on the other side. Was this route always the intention, or did this change since our last meeting? Just to give me a little more context.
Sure, this was always the route. We decided, or we felt it was best because the construction times were so different that in case something changed, they didn't want to come to you and say, hey, I want to take down these 11. And then something changed from vicinity, and then we we decided we weren't going to run that route. So we had met to discuss the two that are on the other side that are our starting point that brings us across Huntington with the large pit. This was the route that was selected. This building at some point is slated to possibly come down in our next round of IMP. So what we're trying is to stay out of the area. There's also a lot of utilities in the only route around this building that we're finding it almost impossible to go through. So using the city sidewalk was our last choice, but unfortunately the only choice for a path to get us through.
Okay. Just two comments then. First, I'm glad to hear that there is plans to insulate the new infrastructure properly and make sure that it doesn't affect the surface temperature and things like that. So it's great to hear that is part of the plan, because as you mentioned, that it has been an issue on Huntington Avenue and in other areas of the city that have steam infrastructure. And secondly, just to echo Mac's comments, it would be great if when replanting this area, there was some improvement to the planting space for the trees. Again, whether that's with structural soils or some sort of subsurface improvements for the tree growth. You're not removing huge trees, but nonetheless, we want to make sure that whatever's planted there gets established quickly and the canopy can grow very rapidly. So having improved rooting space would really be a benefit there for the trees. So that's all for me.
Okay.
Absolutely, and that's where I defer to Steve and the experts. I'm not an expert in this part of it. So whatever needs to be done to establish the trees, I know it's important to the city. It's also part of, it's the gateway to Northeastern too. So, we have that piece of it also. So we want to make sure that this area is put back better than what we left it. Not the same. It's always that one step further. So removing the grates, putting the resin in, I assumed that because that was one of the conditions on the other side when we took the other ones down, that we would continue whatever the requests were. And if we have a different request to whatever we do to these, we're going to make sure happens to the ones on the other side. So if there's a change in our thinking, we'll transfer that over and everything will get planted the same with the same standards that you guys put forward if we're allowed to take these down.
Is there a time frame for this project?
So we're looking to start the work right after the moratorium ends. We're on a tight timeline because we do have to have the steam up and running for the next heating season, but it's also contingent upon the MBTA. As you know, the MBTA doesn't always have the most popular views in the press going forward. So we are impacting their station. We're going to be closing the green line for a couple of nights here and there to actually pull our existing lines under, so we can't be doing the work while they're going on. So we're trying to get the pipe in the ground and be ready to accept the one coming across the street as quickly as possible, so that we're not impacting the green line and public transportation longer than we have to, and be getting off of Huntington Ave. We understand this is a major artery in the city for traffic, as well as foot traffic in the area, our students. So it impacts a lot of people. So our goal is to get in and out as quick as possible. We're assuming we'll be digging up the sidewalk in its entirety towards the beginning of spring, right around the May and beginning of May timeframe, May, June, and have it done before the fall semester starts, before all the college kids are back on campus, before the high schools start, so that it looks normal for all our visitors and our new families that are coming in.
Great. I'll say that I did not receive any letters or emails in opposition to the removal of these trees. But at this time, we do allow the public to comment. So if you're one of the 3 attendees, if you could please raise your hand if you would like to speak. I'll take that as a no. So there's no opposition at this time to the removal of these trees. So So now at this point, we have 2 weeks from today's hearing to issue you guys a letter of determination. If the removal of the trees is approved after this hearing, you'll then need to send a check for the value of the trees to the BPRD, similar to what you did on the other side of the street. Once we receive the check, Carrie will issue a notice to proceed to remove the trees. And then, of course, after construction, whatever you do replant in the public right of way, we'll reimburse you based on the value, based on the size of the trees that you replace, and then being alive for 2 years after installation, as long as they are alive and healthy. And that's all we have. If you guys have any other further questions.
I don't think we do. Like I said, I thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. If there is any additional information or any technical information that we need, please let me know. Steve can give you the more technical part of these. And if there, like I said, if there are any changes to our previous agreement with the other ones, and we want to follow suit on this side, I think it's pretty much the same as what you're asking now. But we want to make sure that we're taking that into account as well, so that everything is the same going forward.
Awesome.
All
Great.
right.
Can you
Well,
please,
thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
sorry, before you go, can you please email a copy of that presentation to us for our records, please?
Absolutely. I'll send that right now.
Okay.
A little better
Appreciate
than our technical glitches that we had. But I appreciate the time, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, folks.